everyone. This is Coach Viv Lynn here again with you. And today I have a guest, and this guest is someone very close to me and very important to me. And she is none other than Carol Anderson, and she will introduce herself, but I'm going to have to tell you, this woman is decorated Navy ex-Master Chief. We're talking about a person who's a nutritionist. We're talking about a person who is dedicated to people's health, mental health, a person who loves people, who are giving, and she is my cousin. So I am excited for today's guest. And Carol, say hey to the people, introduce yourself, and tell them more about who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Carol, as Viv says, and I'm very relaxed. And I just want to set the stage. Yes, I've served in the military for a very long time. And one of the key points why I do it, I love people. I love to serve. So I found myself in the service field, which is the military, at a very, very young age. Yes, I went into the food industry, followed my mother's footstep, who was an international chef. But by
Yes.
default, that's where I end up and did a successful career with it. Again, helping people with their health and nutrition.
Awesome. So you see, guys, it's going to be great because she is very knowledgeable in this field. Now, Carol, so what caused you to be in this industry? What is it? I know you mentioned your mom been in the field, being an international chef. So besides your mom, what else have caused you to be in this industry?
It's funny, I was supposed to be in the medical industry in the
Hmm.
military,
Okay.
not so much the food industry, but
Mm-hmm.
by at that time in the 80s, this was one of the career paths that was available. And if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to stay in the military, I would have to do this field because that was available to us.
Mm-hmm.
And reluctantly, I didn't want to do it because I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor. But nevertheless, I took the opportunity so I could stay and serve and help others. So I continue. I continue with the field and
Mm-hmm.
I grew to love it as I was
Mm-hmm.
working because it just put me closer to people in learning as I grow.
Okay. So being that you love people and you love medicine, so I would probably consider you an advocate for health, right? So what does it mean to be an advocate for health?
I think advocacy is natural.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us, when we see an advocate, is someone that always gonna fight for a cause. Someone that believe in something that most other people may think, oh, I don't believe in it, or I'm not gonna worry about it. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, advocacy is natural. I feel I could advocate for anything or anyone. It all depends on the time or what a person may be going through. So
Mm-hmm.
my reason for advocating, even as a minority woman, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of women and men go through different things in life, and I've found myself helping them to fight the good
Mm-hmm.
fight of whatever it may be that they were going through. I felt I needed to always stick with people, coach them, help them, and mentor them. So I found myself just naturally advocating when they felt they couldn't even advocate for their own self, educating them on what they should do. That way they can better take care of themselves, especially if I was not around.
That's amazing. So you have been an advocate for health. You've been in the medical field, but you switched over to nutrition. Now, what would you say to a person, especially when you go to the doctor, they say to you, you should know your family history. Why is it important for them to know their family history?
I would say because when I was younger, I didn't know any family history. And when I started going to the doctor, I just felt I was just going for me, not having a history about my family. So I wasn't able to really communicate, especially being young. You're
Mm-hmm.
young, you have no medical, issues, so you're going for preventative care. But at the same time, knowing that you may have a family member with a disease or two, it's good that as you're young, that your doctor knows and they could add it to your chart while you may be healthy, that family history will follow you as you grow up and go through life. So the faster you can document and know your family history can definitely help you to prevent any of those medical condition, or any way how to take care of it and what to say to your doctor when those needs arise. So
Mm-hmm,
that's
mm-hmm.
very important.
Right, right, right. So if you have a young person and say, well, I'm healthy, I live a balanced life, so I don't think I really need a doctor, what would you say to someone like that?
I would say to them, yes, I was healthy too, and I felt the same way. I didn't need a
Yeah.
doctor. I didn't need to go for annual checkup. I just felt I could just manage my own health. But
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, I didn't have all the answers of what was going on in my body, nor was I paying close attention to my body because I felt I know everything. If it was a headache, I could just go to the local grocery store, the pharmacist, and I will self medicate. I will go get some Tylenol. I'll get anything. It could be a cough, it could be a cold. We find ourselves doing that a lot, and that stuff is not in our medical record. So when your doctors ask you, what else are you taking? A lot of times people may say, no, I'm not taking anything else, or I'm not taking anything at all. And they don't even list those small things that they're taking because they already started the process of being their own doctor. So I will
Mm-hmm.
say to that person is, even though you're healthy, but keep in mind that preventive medicine is the most important. And doctors not only take care of you when you're healthy, but they're there also to help you manage the preventative care and explain to you what are the things of what you may need as you go through your life's journey. So that is very
Mm-hmm.
important and a key.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about preventive medicine. What is preventive medicine?
Preventive medicine is pretty much you being in tune and know your body. Where are you right now on the health scale?
Mm-hmm.
Most people may say, I am healthy, I'm eating healthy. But
Mm-hmm.
what does eating healthy looks like for a person that is young or someone that is probably already having medical conditions? So we'll stick to the young folks. We know sometimes eating healthy could be eating different types of food. But at the same time, the consistency of continually eating unhealthy may cause down the road some medical conditions that you may not have thought of, especially, I'm saying high blood pressure. I'm going to throw that out there. And again, I am not here to heal or cure any disease. I'm just throwing things out there so people understand. If you continuously adding sodium daily intake and exceeding that, you may find yourself at a health risk without even knowing that you are. So
Right.
those are little things. It could be stress. You could be
Mm-hmm.
taking on additional stress and not realizing that stress impacts your health. And physiologically, how do you know if it's happening? You could start getting a small headache. Some people may say a small headache is I may not sleep well, I didn't eat, I didn't drink, and so forth. But could it be that your body may be under stress? And
Right.
without recognizing it and being aware that these things can add to your health journey, it is very
Mhm.
important.
Right, right, right. So true, so true. So you said that the young people, they need to pay attention to their health. You talked about looking at your family history. We talked about preventive medicine. So I heard you mention before about taking Tylenol, a whole bunch of different things. Do you take supplements?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I
So are
take
you an
supplements.
advocate for supplements?
This is what I'm advocate. I'm advocate for health. I'm
Okay.
advocate for people to know their health journey
Hmm.
and to be in tune with their body.
Okay.
Supplements have its purpose. And here
Hmm.
is why. For me, I'll be full transparent. Being young, did I take care of my health like I should? No.
Hmm.
And why? Because if I didn't grow up in a household where my family, my parents were continuously going to the doctors, taking care of their health or doing it their way, as I grow up, I would just mirror that image or that
Hmm.
behavior. I will do as they do. So as I grew up, I realized even from a food industry, we're one of the hardest working folks out there. We're so busy taking care of everybody else, we don't take care of ourselves.
True,
Folks will
true.
say, you make prepare healthy meals, and I'll say, well, I didn't have time to eat a meal. And they're
True.
like,
Uh-huh.
so I find my health going down, and I have to supplement because number one, when we think of what we're eating in our body, is that enough nutritional value to
Mm-hmm.
sustain your life? That's the
Right.
question. Is
Mm-hmm.
that enough? Just like your car needs fuel, when your car is going on empty, you gas up. But a lot of time when we look at our body, being on empty could be fatigue. Being on empty could be lack of sleep, could be your
Mm-hmm.
energy. Those little things start to send off those signals way in advance before you even start having major health crises. But we may just kind of ignore those little lights as a car. It lights up and it tells you, hey, I'm not feeling well today, but we say we're going to push through. So I
Right.
like to use the vehicle as an analogy, but supplements, I have to supplement because as a busy person, if I'm not eating well and
Mm-hmm.
my energy is lower through the day, I cannot be my best version of myself. So
Right.
this is where I have to gas up, as I would say. I have to supplement with things that going to help my body continue on to the journey. So yes, there is a place for it. Is how we manage and know when to. Because some folks may see supplement as, okay, I'm just supplementing to supplementing. But why
Mm-hmm.
are you supplementing? What is your body lacking? I
Mm.
would ask
That's a
that
good
question. Yeah,
question.
what are you lacking? You
Mm-hmm.
have to know what you're lacking. So that's what your body needs. Because if
Mm.
your body is very smart, your body will tell you what it needs. And when you give the body what the body needs, the body know exactly what to do with it. So that's
Exactly.
why it's so
Mm-hmm.
important to supplement. I believe in what we call the 80-20 philosophy when it comes to health and food.
Mm-hmm.
You
And what
could
is
eat
that,
80.
by the way? What is that?
Yes, 80%. I will tell folks that no one is perfect. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
perfect. We eat what we eat. We eat what we love. I know that
Mm-hmm.
from the industry. But what I teach folks is if you eat 80% of food, healthy food, and you may have a mix of, your specialty in there. You may have a piece of cake. I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to deny someone pleasure if that makes you happy. But
Mm-hmm.
20% of what I do consistently is I supplement. I supplement where most people may say, no, I don't need supplement. But supplement is the one of the things that are consistent. While
Okay.
we may
Okay.
change what we eat every day, for instance, a salad. Most people go to the store and they buy everything for a salad. And I will ask them, are you planning on eating salad 7 days a week? They're like, well, yeah, I'm going to try. But what happened in day three when you don't feel like having a salad?
Right.
But a supplement becomes that no brainer. I'm going to take it even if I'm not thinking about it because I've
Right.
got adjusted to it. And now it becomes a part of my way of life. So when
Mm.
I started supplementing consistently, good quality supplement, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what my 80% is, it helps me to manage when I shortfall on my food side.
Mm. That's a really good way of looking at it. It's consistent. I like that word. You said a supplement is consistent. You
Yes.
guys hear that? A supplement is consistent. Unlike us who would, eat salad 3 days and then skip one, she just said supplement is consistent. Now, you talked about supplement, but is every supplement the same?
Every supplement may not be the same, and it
Mm-hmm.
all depends on what is in the supplement and what someone is looking for.
Okay.
I'll tell everyone before you start supplementing, you have to know why you're supplementing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the body does not need it, say for instance, vitamin C, vitamin D, what does your body need? Because most people will say, I take a multivitamin, great. But what is the missing gap in your health that you're trying to take care of? And this is where most people may not know.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go to the doctors, and doctors will say, you're low or you're deficient. That's the word they will use in certain
Mm-hmm.
things. And the doc may say, go supplement or go eat healthy. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if you're not practicing and consistently eating healthy
Right.
vegetable, salad, your proteins, your macro, you hear folks will talk about macro food and the micro. If you're not eating healthy consistently, then yes, your body may become deficient over time, which is where the supplementation comes in and why I say consistently supplementing to get your levels back in place. And that is what you work with your doctor, because your doctors could actually look at your blood work or your urine and tell you exactly what you're deficient in. That way you yourself not guessing. Most people will buy supplement and they may be overly supplementing the body, and
Mhm.
you're giving the body too much. And could it impact you? Yes, it could go the same way if you have little or you have too much. So that
Mhm.
is where with your doctor you could work. Know
Mhm.
your blood work, know your urine, know all the things you need, but definitely know where you are on the scale when it comes to all your nutrition and your nutrient deficiency.
Wow, that's really good to know because I myself didn't know that I needed to know my numbers to able to know which supplement to take. I just took supplements because that's what you do. You need multivitamins, you need this, you need that, but I never thought of saying knowing your numbers. So is that important? Is it important for one to know their numbers?
It's very important because it's science, and that's
Hmm.
what the medical professional they use. They
Hmm.
will always ask to draw blood work because
Right.
it's no guessing. And it's the same thing in food. Whatever is in your body will show up in your blood work. I always tell folks
Right.
that. While folks say, well, I'm eating healthy, I say, it will show. You could tell me you're eating healthy, but it will show. It will show
Yeah.
in those deficiency that doctors may continuously either prescribing or tell you use your supplement, but it will show. And once the awareness of that, where, oh, if I could tell my doctor I'm eating healthy, and the doctor may say, but if I'm vitamin D deficient, what am I? Am I having my milk? What am I doing? If I'm vitamin
Right.
A deficient, am I eating my carrots? If I'm vitamin C deficient, okay, I'm telling my doctor I'm having orange juice, but what kind of orange juice are you having? Are you
Mhm.
having a sugary half of orange juice? And are you doing it consistently? Because remember, food goes in your body. Once the body uses what it needs, everything else is dispersed, and you have to replenish the body. So that's why
Right.
I say consistency. So folks thinking just skipping. I'm skipping a couple days. I'm skipping a couple good meals. And so your body is waiting patiently for that fuel from the
Mhm.
brain all the way down, because the brain needs food. Every systems in your body organs rely on that nutrients, as we would
Mhm.
say. And if
Mhm.
it does not have the nutrients, then you're going to wonder, why am I feeling the way I feel? And that's what we
Right.
go to the doctors and we say, hey, I'm feeling tired. Okay. Could be I'm lacking of my sleep. But what
Mhm.
if you're skipping meals? What if you're dehydrated? Those
Mhm.
are the fundamental things that I would love for people to be in tune with their body, because you know your body more than any doctor know you. You know.
Yeah. So, what would you say to those people? Because I'm always faced with these people that they feel, oh, I have a doctor's appointment. I need to eat right for this week because I'm going to the doctor. What would you say to those people? Is that going to show or make a difference in their medical numbers if they eat right for a week? What would you say to those people who getting ready for a doctor's appointment and eating right for a week?
I would say to those people, see, you've started a journey on consistency.
Uh huh.
And eating right for that week, that is great. However, it all depends on your medical condition. That eating right, and when you ask folks, what does eating right looks like? That is the thing where folks will stumble and say, well, I eat my vegetables. Then, in the nutrition, we'll peel that onion back some more. Well, what vegetable do you eat? Well, and I eat my corn. Oh, do
Mm-hmm.
you like spinach? No, I don't like spinach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all the green vegetables are very good for your iron and so forth. So you ask what they're eating, but to your question, eating healthy that week, is enough?
Mm-hmm.
That may help, But remember, once you leave the doctor, then now what? If that doctor takes that blood work that week and may see a slight improvement, is that consistency when you
Mhm.
leave the doctor that no one see what going on with your blood work until 90 days later, 6 months later, a year later for some people that do annual? What do you do in all that time if you're not consistently replenishing the body with healthy eating?
So, for those who don't know, if you eat right a week before doctor's appointment, it's not what's going to show, it's what you eat 90 days or 60 days ahead. That's what will show. So, that's what she's basically saying in a nutshell.
And I will also add, just think about it. Most people go to their doctors and they will do fasting blood work. That's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll hear them say, well, I'm going to stop eating sugar 2 days before my doctor's appointment. It's in your system. It's in
Mm-hmm.
your system.
Exactly.
It's in your system. To that point, it's in your system. So while you making small strides, is that consistency of doing it. Don't just do it for that week. Do it after you leave the doctor. Do it consistent, because you got to remember, it is your life. Your doctor is only there to coach you, to help you, to empower you to stay healthy. The goal is to remain as healthy as we can. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell folks that preventative medicine is the key. If we really, really think about it, if you're not trying to prevent diseases, then ask yourself, well, what am I trying to prevent? Or what am
Mm-hmm.
I trying to accept? Because if you
Exactly.
don't prevent, then you're going to accept diseases that's going to come to the body. And
Mm-hmm.
think about it, when you go to the doctor, and yes, doctors are great people, there's a place for them, but they also need our help.
True.
They need our help. They cannot just do it by documentation, send you on your way, send you to the pharmacy if we're not serious about our health. I had to get serious about my health. Why? I'm a survivor of cancer. Should it take for cancer for me to be serious? Should it take for me to almost lose my life? But if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. Thank God for second chances. But I cannot take chances knowing that my health is the most important thing besides God, your
Mm-hmm.
health. And so many folks will take chances at not taking care of their health, thinking that nothing's going to happen. You
Mm-hmm.
got to think of, how do I help my body? What do I do? From eating, from sleeping, from relaxing, from meditating, from not taking on added stress, and know when
Mm-hmm.
I'm stressed so I can do something about it, manage it. Stress we will all have. It's not
Mm-hmm.
if you will have stress, it's how you manage stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want people to understand that it's okay to be stressed, because you'll have good stresses and you'll have bad stresses. So stress
Mm-hmm.
is not always a bad thing. If someone is graduating from college, that's a good stress. If someone is getting married, it's a good stress. Everybody's amped up, the bride is amped up, but it's a good stress. It's a stressful moment. No
Mm-hmm.
different from something negative happened. But it's
Mm-hmm.
the management. How are we going to get those cortisol levels, down, where
Mm-hmm.
now our body is not in fight or flight. And
Mm-hmm.
most people may not understand fight or flight, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing how we manage that body is so important to how we manage our health.
Right, right, right. So we talked about why it's important to know your numbers. We talked about preventive medicine. We talked about eating right, and we talked about consistency. Now, eating right, we talked about what are you eating, and they might be eating corn. But is the food really nowadays, because in here in the media, they have so many things that they're putting on the pesticides and different things and chemical on the food. Would you consider the food we're eating now really healthy? Is it better to eat organic food versus the normal food in the grocery store? You told us what healthy eating is, but what is really healthy food? That's my question.
Healthy food is, again, when we go shopping, know what you're looking for based on your body,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's body is different. If we're shopping for fresh fruits and vegetables, most of us, even if it's organic, we have to practice washing our fruits, thoroughly washing our fruits. Because if I just tell someone to wash their fruits, they may just dip it under the water and then
Hmm.
they'll eat it. Or I've seen people in the grocery store just eat it straight off the rack. And I'm like, oh, you're not sure where that produce is coming from. You're
Hmm.
not sure what even soil it was making in. You're not sure even the person that put it on that rack, you
True.
don't know their condition of what is could even be on their hands. You're not sure.
Hmm.
And this is where people have to be mindful of when they're eating their practices. Organic, it may say organic. And most people know organic do cost more.
Right.
So it's always good in you in a grocery store. Know your grocery store. Ask the question. That's what they're there. They're trained, but most of us don't ask. If this is organic, flip it over. Where is it coming from?
Mm.
Some places
Good
do have the
question.
manufacturer on the package. Some things may even have a manufacturer number. Call them if you want to know more about where your food is grown. It's grown in
Mm.
Mexico, but where in Mexico? You know, those are things you could even ask the grocery store because they know these things. The managers they know. But yes, you want to make sure you practice good washed. Food are different prices for a reason. While it may be grown different, and most people will say, well, a carrot is a carrot, but it's where it's grown, the nutrients that is
Mhm.
in that food.
Okay.
It may cost you more, but it's always going to cost us more to be healthy.
True.
So I always tell, look at the labeling. If you're not sure, always ask someone because all grocery store buys from other folks. So it all depends on where you live. You live in the north, you live in the south, you live overseas. But always remember the most important thing, especially with organic, fresh, we have to be mindful that we wash it. When we bring it home, if you sit it on your counter, you got
Hmm.
to wash the counter too. If you
Hmm.
just put it in the refrigerator, hello, you may have just put it next to stuff that you just washed before because we go to the grocery store consistently. Some folks go every couple of days, some may go a month. But even if you go just to pick up bananas, because they don't last but so long anymore, think about it. Most people will just peel it off, but if you touch the peel with your hands and then you break the banana, you could just contaminate the banana if your hands wasn't washed. So in the food service industry, we look at all these things. We look at label, but not only that, we look at temperatures. That is why when you go to the grocery store, the fruits and vegetable is under refrigeration. Most of it is under refrigeration for a reason. That way it maintain the freshness as possible. And those are things to know because as food is coming up now, we notice it's not lasting as long as it used to.
Right.
And no
Right.
matter what it is, a cucumber that could last a week, maybe two, maybe a day or so. So we want to be careful what we're eating, knowing what we're eating, and ask questions if we're not sure when we're in the grocery stores.
Wow, wow, that's good to know because it's true. You're touching, you're contaminating whatever you're touching, and sometimes you don't realize that you're contaminate. Cross contamination is really bad, and that's something that we really need to take a look at. I know our time is limited for today, and I really enjoyed this conversation. We talked about preventive medicine, we talked about your food. You need to pay attention to the labels. You need to pay attention to where it's grown. You need to keep it washed and clean and be careful. Even when you put it on your counter, she says that could be cross contamination. So we have to be aware of what we're doing with the things that we're putting inside our bodies. And we talked about the supplements and about good supplement versus bad supplements. And you have to be careful where you buy your supplement. But quick questions. What company do you use with your supplement? You have your own brand that you use, right? I'm sure of that.
Yes, I've purchased supplement from various areas or various
Okay.
stores.
Mhm.
But what I find out with supplement, again, the body. What does certain bodies need? I use my supplement from a company that is known as LifeVantage. And
Mhm.
why? Because I want the most potent supplement that's going to go in my body and do the work. That's that 20% I talked about.
Right,
So
right.
if I'm doing 20% versus 80% of the supplement, it has to be top of the line. It
Exactly.
has to be the best because I'm
Exactly.
relying on that 20% of the supplement to offset what I'm not eating properly.
Right.
So, yes, I use a lot of organic, clean supplements. Know who manufacturing it. That's very important
Mhm.
to me.
Mhm.
I want to know who is manufacturing. I want to know the science behind my supplement. And I want the scientists or folks to be able to answer my questions. So when I used to go any other places, I may not get that. I
True.
can't ask the cashier and expect the cashier just be able to tell me if they have no idea who the manufacturer is, if
Mhm.
they have no idea even the information that is on the label, especially what is in the bottles. They
Right,
don't
right.
know. So I
Yeah.
have to speak to those that do know. So I find myself now dealing with more privatized companies that I could go direct and get those questions answered.
So good. So not only do you read the labels and do the research for your food, you have to also do the research for your supplements. Like she mentioned about organically sourced, she can get the record and the scientific proving that these supplements will do what it needs to do for her body. So those things are vitally important. Know your food, know your medical records, know your supplements, where they're sourced, where they're coming from. All these areas that she talked about is vitally important for our good, quote unquote, good health. So we're very short on time today. Carol Anderson will be back with us again, and she'll be talking about mental health. And she briefly mentioned about stresses, the difference with stresses. So we're going to talk about those two areas next time, and whatever else we conjure up, we could talk about next time. So because of shortness of time, we're going to end this segment with Carol. Any last word do you have for our audience today?
I would love to say to our audience, your health is more valuable than anything because it doesn't matter what you have. When your health start failing, that becomes number one on your list. That becomes number one for your family. That becomes number one besides those that are spiritual, your almighty. But without your health, it's hard in this world to be able to maneuver. It's even harder when I speak with folks that are in the professional realm, executives. It doesn't matter. If you don't have good health, it's hard to be productive on the job. It's hard to be productive at home. It's very hard to be productive citizens. It's very hard to take care of even your own self.
Mhm.
So I will tell everyone, go to your doctor. If you don't have one, get a doctor. It's okay. Build a relationship with your doctor. Don't hold back information. They're people too. I always tell folks doctors are people too. And
Right.
if you feel you cannot build a relationship with a doctor, then find one that you could build a long term relationship with. Not a doctor that you say, well, I'm not going back to the doctor. And you don't go back and things are happening to the body. So it's so important that we take care of ourselves, take care of our families, and take care of our community. And that is all.
Well, thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate you taking the time out from your schedule and joining us today and educating us on those important things. And remember one thing she said also, consistency is the key. Consistent in everything that we do, and it will make a big difference in our health. So thank you guys for joining us today. Shalom, shalom. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.